Hello and welcome to Harmoniously podcast. Today with us we have Alena.
Hello, Alena here. Nice to see everyone virtually.
Hello everyone. And so as usual, we are going to start with an arrival practice and then we get to know Alena a little bit more better. And she's an amazing coach, so she's here to talk more about coaching. All right, so if you're not driving, but you're listening anywhere else, so please, I invite you to just take a second. Maybe you can close your eyes, that would be better. We are going to close our eyes and just really take a cup of breath. Just slowly focus your attention to your breath to allow yourself to be to arrive yourself to come into the present moment. Let everything else outside just entering in the space of the now. Just take the last cup of breath. Enjoy this connection with the air. And then slowly come back, opening your eyes. So Alena and I, we use this arrival practice or tune in or meditation. We can name them different ways in our coaching. And it's a great practice to start any kind of work, definitely a coaching session. And we normally do a little longer, but for the sake of the podcast, we just do a little, like a taste of what it is. So anyway, Alena, tell us more about you. So as I said before, she's a great coach and her work focuses on empowering women. And we're all about women.
Yeah, thank you, Mel. Yes, I appreciate you, and thank you for inviting me today to join you on your podcast. This is my first podcast, so I'm very excited about it. And what better person than you, to be my godmother or the person introducing me to this new experience because you've done that before. So I really appreciate you. Thank you, Mel. So
Also, I sorry
yes.
to interrupt you, but I want to just notice that you have a beautiful yellow shirt. And this episode will be about women on International Women Day, March 8th. And I want to mention that in Italy, we offer to women a beautiful flower that is yellow. Actually, I'm going to show it to you. I have it here. So you have the perfect color, Alena.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, because I always think of International Women's Day, and I had no idea, by the way, that this was, oh, look how pretty. That's so fresh. It's springtime. Does
Yes,
it smell? It
it's
has
called
a scent?
mimosa, like the cocktail. That's why I guess the
Uh-huh.
cocktail is this color, but this is it's
Oh,
fresh.
it's
It's still
beautiful.
it's because the trees of mimosa are flowering right now, and so we offer this, or actually men offer this to all women on
Mhm.
March 8th.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you. Yeah, so it just so happened I wore yellow. I love color and brightness, and for women, I would have worn purple, I guess, because that's the color I usually think of, for International Women's Day.
Ah,
But this is beautiful that in Italy you give beautiful yellow flowers. And in fact, yellow is such a happy color. It reminds me of the sunshine and the golden light that surrounds us through the sun. So I thought I love the sunshine. And I actually live in South Florida, and it's a beautiful sunny day today. So I'm feeling very cheerful, even though I'm still getting over this flu that I had. So
hmm.
you'll have to maybe bear with me a little bit. I may have some little coughing episodes during our podcast today. um, but yes, so going back to your question, I am a life coach, and we actually trained together in the Psychospiritual Institute here. Well, it was virtual. And I actually like to tell people that I'm your best life coach because I love to help women
Oh,
make the rest of their life the best of their life.
I love
So,
this. Ah.
yeah, because the past is over and it's done. There's nothing we can do to change it, right? Obviously, we can go back, we can heal, we can learn, but we really have an opportunity now, especially, as a little bit more mature women, to design the future life we want to live. And that's for anybody, right? You don't have to be a
Mm,
woman, you don't have to be older or more mature. You can do that at any age. It took me a lot longer to realize this. So my mission is really to help younger women and help women in general to, focus on, self-growth, self-development, and identifying, really what brings you joy and passion and excitement so that you can live that life that you're excited to wake up in the morning, that you have goals and dreams, and that you don't have to spend time like worrying and letting all of those negative thoughts take over. When you're focused on a goal and something important in your life, suddenly that takes precedence.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can kind of push that negativity to the side because you're focusing on that one thing that brings you so much excitement, energy, and joy that you move forward. And so that's really what I'm happy doing and happiest doing. And I feel very fulfilled when I can coach other women individually and in groups to identify what's important to each one of them because it's different for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's all great points that you're making there. And there are also points that you're using to support women, but at the same time, that's what define what a coach is, what coaching is. That is done with the past. The past is the past. Definitely, you want to address certain traumas, something that's still affecting you now that isn't the past, but you want to focus on the present and the future to build the life of your dream, as you said, to wake up with excitement. And that's what defines what coaching is also. And that's great because I feel, and maybe that's just my perspective, but I feel that coaching is still not that well known as a profession. And many people are still looking for other kind of professionals to help them, while they probably are actually looking for a coach without knowing it, but they actually need the support of a coach. And they need support of this person, this cheerleader that is there to support them on what is their goals, their dreams, understanding what is that, and support them in building that in the present so that then they can have the future that they want. But starting from today to, as you said, each morning, waking up each morning. So yeah, I love that. And
Absolutely. And I
how
just wanted, oh,
mm,
sorry, I just wanted to
mm,
add to that, it's really important. Like I can tell you, for many years I suffered from depression. I was on
oh,
antidepressants. I was on multiple medications. I was going to my psychiatrist and I felt like I wasn't moving forward, and this was before coaching was a thing. And I think there were athletic coaches and maybe
mm,
perhaps, business coaches, but personal coaches at that time were non-existent, or if they were, I did not know about them. And looking back, I wish 20 years ago, I had a coach. And I'm not taking away from therapy. I think therapy has its place and going back and healing trauma is very important. But if I could have had, in addition to my therapist or my psychiatrist, a coach, I would have dug myself out of my depression on my own a lot quicker. And I would have had the tools to understand that this is my one life and I can spend it if I want to, if I choose to, I can spend it looking back and, suffering through the trauma and all of the incidents that have not necessarily been empowering to me. Or I can choose to say, okay, this has happened. It's made me who I am today. And from today going forward, I can choose a different path. I can make my life, I can design the life that I want to live. And I think that I think everybody needs a coach. Even coaches need coaches, as we know.
yes. Exactly. So actually, that was going to be my question, but you read my mind, because I was going to ask you how coaching has changed your life, or what impact coaching had in your life. And you can add also something more, but you answered before hearing the question. And before, I wanted also to add on what you were saying about also coaches need coaches, or everyone
Mhm.
needs a coach. It's true, because a coach, what a coach also is, it gives you that safe place, safe space to be able to support you as you are, not giving you a certain set of external goals or how life is supposed to be by others, other people's standards, but like a life coach is someone that is going to support you in finding your own truth and be
Mhm.
your cheerleader in then achieving that.
Absolutely. And that's really important because there is not one life for everyone or the same there's no mold. And I think the important thing for me with my experience, my first coach that I had before I studied coaching to become a coach, was that how she reframed my reality or how I perceived my reality. She was able to mirror back from a different perspective that I was in my little box and I could only see things from this perspective. And when she would mirror back to me a different reality than I was perceiving, I was like blown away. And I was like, wait, maybe that could be, maybe I am, maybe this is me, maybe this is another, perspective for me to look at my life from that perspective and base my story that I tell myself, from a different angle. And it made all the difference.
Hmm. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And then the next question, and it may seem a little obvious because like you're a woman, so that's probably why you want to support women. But I actually am curious about that even more because okay, you're a woman supporting women, but I think there's more into that. So tell us
Mm.
more of your choice in wanting to empower women.
Yeah. So, one thing I learned about in coaching when I took the coaching program was that we tend to be um, we can help other people who are going through what we've already been through, right, in life in general. And so, I'm a mother, I have two beautiful adult daughters. I'm also separated and divorced. I'm obviously a more mature woman. So like I have some life experiences and I've kind of come along my journey in a way that I feel that I could best help other women and empower them. And also I think it's part of, like I said, my mission because I wish I would have had that support and coaching when I was my younger self. And I know I would have had a different life, not better or worse, because I'm not judging my life at this point. It was just a different life. And I would have approached life differently. And I would have had certain tools and I would have had the support, I think, to make different decisions that really honored my true self instead of trying for so many years to be someone else that I wasn't because I thought that was, I was pleasing other people that I wanted to see happy. I really just needed to please myself, and not in a bad way. I think when we're happy and satisfied, we're better people and we can
Mhm.
give more love and share more joy when we're living in that space, in that head space and in that energetic space. So, that's sort of why I also focus on women. And I still believe too that, and this is, I mean, yeah, this is the part of me that still sees that women can use the help of other women. And for so many people have told me stories where, women, are not necessarily supportive of other women. And I kind of want to break that mold because I
Wow.
believe that as women, we can support each other. There's no competition. We're on our own journeys, and I love to help other women to see them happy and smile and empower them to take control of their life, and get
Mhm.
back in the driver's seat of their life because so many of my clients, that come to me originally, it's because they're feeling lost. Or maybe, I like to use the analogy of the car. They could be like in the back seat or the trunk of their car. And I kind of like to help them move back into the driver's seat where they feel in control and they know where they want to go when they set out, every day. They have a vision and a mission and a goal, and they feel so much more satisfied with life from that perspective versus the victim or being in the trunk.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And while you were saying that, I had the image that came to mind, and it's true. I think we heard many of us heard a lot of how there's competition among women, but this image was like of in women in the past, like living under the same roof and like the support, and that if we have the possibility, we naturally have to each other. And if when we open up to this sisterhood, the collaboration is there, the support is there, and we can all of us can shine and blossom together because of their sisterhood. So
Mhm.
it's absolutely beautiful that that's part of your mission. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, beautiful. And I love how you call it a sisterhood. In fact, that's what the next thing I wanted to tell you about is that I'm actually volunteering, and I've been volunteering off and on since I want to say 2016 at Women Leading Broward, which is a nonprofit a program within Leadership Broward. And there are many leadership programs, I don't know about in the world, but in the United States, there are county-wide, citywide, and statewide and national leadership programs, but I don't know of any other one that has kind of branched off to focus on women. And so within Leadership Broward, we have Women Leading Broward, and it is a sisterhood. It's such a beautiful experience. Yes, where women, we come together and there's a curriculum. It's over 5 months. We meet once a month, but we really address those issues that perhaps as a woman you didn't address yet. So it's a great opportunity. And if you have, it's always a great opportunity to kind of check back in with yourself, reconnect to your values and your mission and your brand and, what's really important to you and how you can be a better version of yourself. And exactly that sisterhood of women who empower themselves and empower others by leading through example and by supporting each other is just such a wonderful experience for me. I always leave the sessions more uplifted. I have faith in humanity and in women and in, achieving my goals too, because I'm supported through the experience of other women. And I just wanted to kind of go back. One of the reasons why I'm really connected with this is that when I took this program, I was working in a nonprofit, and my position was grant funded. And, I didn't have many aha moments because during the course of the program, some women, switched careers or, uh, became strong enough to decide that, the life they were living was not the one they wanted, and the relationship that they were in was toxic. So they moved out of the relationship. But my life didn't change. I was already separated and divorced, and I had my children, and I went through the program thinking, well, I'm not one of those lucky ones. I didn't, no big upheaval, transformation happened. However, during the program, the seeds that were planted for me were basically that, I'm in charge of my happiness. I'm in charge of finding and living my dream and honoring that, because I didn't honor it before. I just sort of suppressed it and put others' needs ahead of mine. And this program really taught me that I can do it, and if I dream it, I can achieve it. And I think that was the biggest thing. And so one of my lifelong dreams had been, to travel around the world. And that is just my dream, right? It has, no other value than the fact that I had the dream, and I saw myself, getting older. My parents were older, and and my daughters were actually both living together. One was at college, the other one was working, and they had an apartment together. So, they were independent. And so I thought, oh, this is really my opportunity to do my traveling. And so I was able to, when my position sunset, I was able to sell my home. My car lease was up, so I turned in my car, and I actually lived my dream. It was so scary too. I was up until the last minute. I'm like, am I crazy? Is this something? What am I really doing with my life? But it was the best experience. I went to all of those exotic places I only dreamed of. I
Uh-huh.
went to South Africa and Egypt and Petra and Jordan and in Israel, and I went to Greece and Turkey and Hong Kong, and I met people, and I did my yoga teacher training in Thailand, and it was just it was a wonderful experience for me to have that freedom and ability to do that for myself.
Mm.
And the coolest thing about it too is that, like, I really honored myself, and I listened to that little voice inside of me that was saying, if not now, when? What are you waiting for? And it's true, we tend to sometimes postpone our dreams and say, okay, one day, one day, one day. But sometimes that day doesn't come. So it's like,
Mm.
stop waiting and just do it. Live. This is my one life.
Mhm.
I have no
Mhm.
other, and this is my dream. So after I did it, or while actually I was doing it, the very final leg of my journey was a cruise with a friend who does this cruise every year. It was a vegan cruise. At the time, I
Ah.
was vegan too, and it was during the beginning of COVID, when the cruise ships were being barred from like coming into land in the port, and they weren't receiving them because people had this illness, the COVID-19, and no one really knew what that meant at the time. And it was very scary because we were like, oh my gosh, is that going to happen to our cruise as well? Are we going to be, stuck at sea with no port that will accept us in? And luckily we weren't, and we were allowed to, come back to Miami. And then the world shut down within a week, so I'm so grateful that I honored myself, that I followed that little voice, and I did make my dream happen. And it's still there. I still have that love to travel and the passion to travel. But that one big trip that I took for myself, really, which was the one thing I did for myself, I think, after, having all of those beautiful milestones of, going to university, graduating, getting married, having children, like all those dreams that I had. This was one a personal dream that I had not been able to fulfill. So I was really happy that I took the initiative, that I committed to myself, and that I followed through.
Wow. I love it. Thank you for sharing. That's so amazing. Such an inspiring story. And that made me think also that's what we learn in coaching, I would say. What I learned in our coaching training, and I'm working with coaching people and being coached at the same time. It's like it feels that growing up, like they don't teach us how to live life. There's just like a sort of, I don't know, it's almost feel everything that is been taught is completely in reverse on what really life is. And with coaching, you find again your path, you find your truth, and your coach is the one that I had this image when you said about the traveling. It was this leap of faith, jumping out of an airplane, and you did it yourself, and you jumped out with your parachute. That is like trust in the universe, but it's still you need to jump. And like the coach is like the person with like holds your hand in jumping out. So
Right. It's like, when you do, I guess, when you jump out of an airplane with a parachute, usually now you have like this guide with you, right? That helps you,
yes,
that's there with you to support you on the way down. So you're not
yeah,
alone. Yes.
yeah,
And,
that's a
and I
coach.
think that's the coach. And absolutely too, it's, getting out of your comfort zone, right? And embracing the fear, because there is a lot of fear sometimes when we're doing something brand new, or we're jumping into the unknown, really, just a leap of faith,
Yeah.
like you said. It's very real. And so, having that support through the coach, that, it's okay. And guess what? You'll make mistakes, and that's okay. Like you said, throughout school, most traditional education systems, it's like you're ridiculed if you make a mistake. You're
Mm.
bullied. You can't show vulnerability, which, like you said, goes against everything that's human, right? And the best way to learn is to actually do things you've never done before, make mistakes, learn, and continue on. So growing through that process. So it's very natural. However, like you said, the system kind of doesn't necessarily support the most natural way of life, and how to like encourage us to be those versions of ourselves that are the best version, and embrace our true nature, and
Mm-hmm.
not suppress it, and not
Mm-hmm.
try and conform with whatever is around us, which is, those are survival skills too, right?
Yes.
Is
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
survival. So, the beautiful thing about having a coach, and my first coach, her name was Erica, and she was actually, I met her through Women Leading Broward.
Uh-huh.
And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she turned me on to an author that I still love reading, and I'm still learning from her, Byron Katie. I don't know, are you familiar with Byron Katie?
I
Yes.
don't. I'm not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So she's an American author,
Okay.
but she was instrumental in me questioning my story. And so her thing is like, is it really true? Is it really
Mm.
true what you're telling yourself? How do you know it's really
Mm.
true? Do you have proof that it's true? And then turning it upside down. So
Mm.
how could the opposite be just as true? And find
Mm-hmm.
proof in that. Find examples where the opposite could be just as true. And guess what? Once you start to do that, you start to break down, like in psychosynthesis too.
Yes.
The egg, you start to look at the different layers of the egg that we like, human
Uh-huh.
consciousness and the will and who we are. And you
Yeah.
start to look at it like from a different perspective, and you break down some of those barriers and walls that we constructed on our own, consciously or subconsciously or unconsciously. And we start to see that it's just a story we're telling ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just another lie. That just like sometimes we could say, well, we've been told lies from the external world. Well, we also sometimes tell ourselves, intentionally or not, lies that we believe that are not true.
Mm-hmm.
Or the opposite could be just as true.
Mm-hmm.
So for me,
Yeah.
Byron Katie was instrumental in breaking down that barrier with myself.
Beautiful. And I just want to, for the listener that don't know, just want to spend a couple of words about what psychosynthesis is. So Alena and I, we study psychosynthesis, and we are psychosynthesis coaches. And so psychosynthesis is a framework that are used in coaching, and is based on Jungian psychology and blends Eastern and Western philosophy. And it's a framework that supports your personal growth into becoming more whole and growing more awareness. To be the ultimate goal is to be a master of your life and just live the life of your dreams. But also like find they call it synthesis on about life, about all the qualities, about really finding. I think people can understand more the word balance, finding a balance on everything in your life, so that everything is in balance. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just wanted to add to that too. It's really
sure,
important that it's also embracing all of you, like your darkness,
yes,
embracing, not just trying to be only happy or only good or only whatever, positive adjective we want to use. It's really owning all of who we are, because there's value in that.
mm-hmm.
And even, the dark night of the soul that we've probably read about, and we can go through at different times in our life, honoring that space too, where everything isn't always the way we would like it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, and we are okay. And from that, there is always something to glean, something to learn about ourselves. And there's always, for me, I can be the, optimist, but there's always the silver lining to anything we live through and go through. So I think that's really important. And also, I wanted to just elaborate a little bit too with the Jungian psychology. Dr. Assagioli created this approach to psychology. Right? He was a psychoanalyst in Italy, and he saw that at the time, Freudian psychology was somewhat limiting and was very much fixated and focused on a certain one aspect of psychology. And he found that Jungian psychology was much more universal and much more symbolic. And so that's why I think in the word psychosynthesis, it comes from psychology, psychoanalysis. It's really interesting. This is just another aside, that sometimes when I tell people I'm a psychosynthesis or a psychospiritual life coach, they're like, the word psycho, that scares me. And I'm like, psycho, it's from psychology, from that essence. So it's interesting, because since you and I, we studied it, we know about it, we see its value. I think it's a fabulous word, but I was really surprised. Numerous people had told me, oh, that's standoffish, that scares me a little bit, that you're a psychosynthesis life coach. So I don't want to scare people, and so I was like, well, then I'm going to change it. I don't want anyone to think that this is a scary type of approach to coaching. On the contrary, it's really how to live your best life. And
Yeah.
so that's really why I kind of focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to help you make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like so fulfilling.
Yeah. And just one last word about Assagioli. Like many of us at least use the concept of higher self, and that concept comes from psychosynthesis. So I think that says a lot about what is also psychosynthesis about. It's like also including the higher self, the soul, into
Mm-hmm.
the work about your mind, about your personal growth.
Yeah, and it's the divinity too, because we are I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you think of it, right, if some people believe too, and I believe that we're spirits or souls having a physical experience, right? We have like our parenthesis, right? Between birth, they say between B and C, between B and D is C, right? So that C is the parenthesis that we're living in this experience, in this human experience that we're in. And it's one aspect of, the quantum physics and the quantum world, where there are multiple dimensions of existence. This is one of them that we're embracing.
Mm-hmm.
And Assagioli, over 100 years ago, 150 years ago, he had that vision,
Yeah.
that we're multidimensional beings who are
Mm-hmm.
divine. And so you can give it any name you want, but it was just like he kind of merged that spirituality with the psychology, and
Mm-hmm.
understood that we are complete beings. We are spiritual beings, we are psychological beings, we are physical beings, and
Yeah.
we are all of them at the same time. And don't isolate one over the other, because and none is better than the other. They're all
Mm-hmm.
perfect the way they are
Mm-hmm.
in their imperfect state of
Mm-hmm.
perfection. That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And there's so many other author and ideas that comes to mind, but I really want to go back to the women uh, again, because we are celebrating soon the International Women Day,
Mm-hmm.
and you're focusing on women, and so I want to go back to focus on women. And so I'd like to know from you, as you are the expert on empowering women. So what are your experience, either both personal and with your clients or the women you know? What are some main, let's say, complaint, or what are more of limitation that women have then, and so on? And yeah, just tell us more
Mm.
about that, the limitation, the blockage, and also like what you see as potential in women.
Okay, well, that's a big question. Let me see. And I think it's a very important question. I don't know if I can answer it, so have a little patience with me while I try. But basically, I think many of my clients that come to me is because they're at a crossroads. They're feeling very frustrated. They're feeling unfulfilled. They tend to, have built the box around them where they're either, even if they're successful professionally and in their life, they don't feel successful. They feel that they're not on the right track. They've kind of lost touch with themselves, or they're afraid of the future. Some of my clients too, they're going like through a transition, whether it's, a new job, or a job ended with all of the different, after post COVID, so many things have shifted. And so suddenly they found that what they were doing is either not relevant, or they've been let go because the teams have downsized. And how they identified themselves for so many years in this career where they are experts suddenly is irrelevant, or not the same as it used to be. It's shifted, it's changed. So suddenly they have to reconnect, or they want to reconnect and find out, what do I want for myself going forward? And I think that's one of the areas. And another obstacle is feeling in a rut, perhaps in a relationship that's, maybe a marriage of 20, 25 years, that you've been with the same person for so many years of your life, and that you maybe lost contact, or grown apart, or, you don't have that same passion. So how to get back in touch with that? Because you obviously, well, some of my clients, they love their husband, but they just don't feel the connection. So how to kind of get back into connecting with themselves first, and
Mm-hmm.
then connecting with their husband. So, there's been that. And then I've had other clients too that are going to be retiring soon. In the next few years, they see like 3 years from now, 4 years from now, my life is going to change because I'll be retiring. And I don't know what that is. And that's a very scary new reality, because it's the unknown. Kind of, we talked about jumping out of
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
airplane, right? So it's like, what does that mean for me? I've done this career for 30, 40 or more years of my life, and now suddenly it's going to stop. And I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like to do. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I can do. And it's sort of, it's exciting in the sense that they're at this crossroads, and they get to explore, get back in touch with what's important to them, what they value, and start trying new things without the pressure, without waiting until they're already, you know, finding that they have all these hours in a day now that they don't have to be at work, they don't have to do anything. And so it can be daunting. So before they get there, they actually start to rediscover, you know, what are the things that I'm excited about? What are the things I love? What are the things I've always wanted to explore but put on the back burner or thought I wasn't good enough? You know, so one of my clients, she's
Mm.
always wanted to write. And she's like, but I'm not a good writer. Well, because she hadn't done it before, you know? The only way to get good at something is to do it. And so she started to write, you know, and she's growing her audience and she's writing more and more and she's discovering her voice. And it's just a beautiful process to see that happen. So that those are some like examples of obstacles perhaps that women are going through, but it can be any transition, like
Mm-hmm.
transition to motherhood, or you know, when you get married and suddenly you know you were living alone, you were your own person, and then you merge with another. So how do you change? How do you adapt to that change and still maintain your own persona and your boundaries? You know, so there are so many transitions in life. We're always changing, right? That's the one thing that's guaranteed in life is that we will change and life will change around us. And so it's how we handle that change, how we see it.
Mm-hmm.
And we are creatures of comfort and we do like things, right, to be the way we know and how we're, you know, comfortable in that environment. So whenever there's a big transition or change, it sometimes it feels scary. And
Mm-hmm.
I think having that coach, having someone there to help you discover your own inner conviction, strengths, and ideas of what you'd like to explore, it takes a bit of the loneliness out of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Doing it on your own. And also it gives you that, like you said, someone holding your hand, a support, where there's someone else who has your back in the sense that they believe in you and trust you and know you can do it, you know, even if you don't believe you can. And I think that's a lot. It's very important to have that in
Mm-hmm.
life in general, whenever,
Yeah,
especially whenever we're embarking on something new.
absolutely. And with like another sister, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
actually, I just wanted to
mm,
say in Women Leading
yes.
Broward, we always love to say that, you know, we're all queens in our queendoms. And that what we can do is help either add some more jewels to our crown, or if the crown is crooked, like help straighten it up. But it's just really supporting each other. And I love the image of me being a queen in my little world, my little queendom, you know, it's right there. You just have like the image of someone sitting on a throne or powerful. And it's like, this is my queendom.
Mm,
This is my life.
okay. Well, that's very much related to the question I was going to ask you. Is like, what is an empowered woman? And you just said a little bit about like the queenness, but what is an empowered woman also?
Oh gosh, what is an empowered woman? What a question. You like these deep questions. So that's, I mean, that's a great thought. You know, what is an empowered woman? Like when you're feeling empowered, right? As a woman, what does that mean to you? And does it mean the same thing to you as it does to me? You know? So I think that just being able to connect to what really is your essence and what's really important to you and what you value, and you know, owning that, I think, and not being afraid of it and not belittling it, you know, seeing your power, seeing your strength. And sometimes our strength and power is in our weakness.
Hmm.
Sometimes our strength and power is in our suffering and pain that we've had to endure, you know, and we survived it, right? That resiliency to get up the next day and just to approach things again and keep going, keep getting up. And I think that in itself, you know, is that strength of will. And we were talking about will before, you know, that having that intention, having that vision, having the desire and the will to continue and to approach life, you know, we talk about the onion too, or there's so many different layers, you know, and the onion is its own self. Every layer is still part of the onion. Every cell is still part of the onion, and it's complete, right? But even when you cut into the middle of it and you take it apart, it's still an onion, right? All of the different layers are still there. And I think as human beings too, we are all of those different, either aspects or dimensions, or we use in psychosynthesis, we use subpersonalities, right? Which is that little, the boardroom that lives in our head, all the different voices of the people, the judge, the people pleaser, the intellectual person, the feeling person, the vulnerable, the little child, the mother. We're all that one being. And I think that that's the beauty of life, really, right? We're multidimensional, multifaceted, and unique.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, okay. I froze. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, back to that. Okay, so that's beautiful. And as you were describing that, once again, came to mind what you said also before, becoming the queen. So that's the empowered woman, being the queen in your queendom, but you decide what it means to be a queen, and you decide what is your queendom. So you can be any kind of queen, right? From like, and I love Disney, so I have all this. You can be Cinderella, or you can be Jasmine, or you can be the Mad Hattress, or you can be the white, the White Queen, or so on, or any other, right? And
Right.
you
And
decide that.
yeah, you can identify, and you can choose how you want what you want your queendom to look like, how you want your role that you want to play in that space, right, in your queendom. And it gives you autonomy, which is kind of exciting too. You get to design the kind of queendom you like, and you live by your rules. And so does everyone else in your queendom,
Oh, that's beautiful. Absolutely. And then, well, one
You
last
know,
thing. Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
okay. No, I just also something else someone else I really wanted to share who was really influential in my life. And she was also, a sister, a mother, a grandma, an auntie, is Louise Hay. Louise
Mm,
Hay, this is when I was still in the throes of my depression. I started listening to Louise Hay, and, her affirmations, and, how she talks about the thoughts you think and the words you speak, the
mhm,
power that they have over our future, over our life, over our present moment, and that each thought is a new opportunity, just like each breath is a new, right, a renewal, a recommitment, right, to life. Each thought we think definitely impacts the life we live. So, we can talk about other people and the external world influencing us, and, maybe being a victim of others' behavior and the situation. However, if between your ears that conversation is toxic, is disempowering, is negative, whether you learned it from someone else or you internalized it, doesn't matter where it came from. The fact that we're perpetuating it really can be debilitating, and not empowering, and not helping, our queenness, our queendom, and all of
mhm,
the life that we would love to live. So Louise Hay's affirmations were really important for me to help me reprogram the negative thoughts I had about myself and the negative self-speak. And I think that was really important for me, was to reprogram my brain, retrain my brain to think positive thoughts, retrain about myself, really, and about my situation in life. And
mhm,
getting out of victimhood for me was really, 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 really powerful.
mhm.
And so I always thank her, Auntie Louise Hay, and she is really, one of those goddesses that her legacy lives on. She passed a few years ago, but her books are there, her recordings are there for us today to still, to serve us and empower us as women, and any human being, men as well. It's not just women, but I look at her like, like that, the grandma figure. She was in her 90s when
Mhm.
she passed, and she had spent, I think, from the time she was 50 to 96 or something, she was working all the time diligently to help people have a better life.
Beautiful. And so one last question is about, like, I know you had this initiative of a 30-day challenge. So you started in February, because you noticed that we all have our New Year resolutions. Maybe we do vision board. Alena and I actually did a vision board event a couple of years ago, and I love vision boards. I think you do too. But then, like, and they're great tools, but it's also a great tool to have a support group for actually make those goals a reality.
Mhm.
And so this year in February, in to honor the new lunar year, so it's again a new starting, but in February,
Mhm.
to honor that, starting with that, you created this 30-day women challenge, goal challenge, in which, so it's a women group, and we support each other to achieve those goals. And then each month we start again with maybe new goals or continue with new goals. But this is your new initiative, so tell us more. What is this about? And just tell us more.
Yes, of course. Thank you for asking about that, Mel. So, yes, so I love vision boards, like you said, just like you do. And I have my great vision board that I made for 2024. And January was ending, and I hadn't taken initiative, on any one of those visions or goals or ideas I had put on my board. And, I had my little pity party, that they say that just you can allow it to happen for like 90 seconds or so. This probably lasted a few hours. And I was like, no, this is not right. I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. I know how to do this. But when it came to my own life, I was feeling like, again, oh gosh, a month has gone by. I haven't taken initiative. And I bet there are other women like me, that haven't done, taken action on a goal, something that's important to them. And I know we talked about before, living your dream life. And I read somewhere that a dream is a goal with a deadline, or a
Hmm.
goal is a dream with a deadline. That's it. A goal is a dream with a deadline. And I thought, our dream life is made up of lots of little goals that we have, that we intend, that we would like to see implemented, that the lifestyle we would like to live, our ideals. And so it was kind of an amazing thing, because I tend to usually overthink things. But this time I was like, no, I'm going to put it out there. So I went on, Canva, I created some flyers, and I put it out there on LinkedIn. I put it there on Facebook, on Instagram, on my social media. And I called ourselves Goal Getting Gals. So instead of goal setting, I'm sure I'm not alone when I say, like, I'm really good at setting goals and making goals, but then implementing and actually achieving the goal, having the action steps that I'm
Mm-hmm.
consistent with, and being supported, like you said. So I created this group of women, and we're virtual, and you're part of it. You're in Italy, and we have
Mm-hmm.
someone in Washington State, Florida, across the United States, and in South Florida as well. And we come together, and we have a WhatsApp group. So it's through WhatsApp, and we support each other with our goals. And like you said, you can have a monthly goal, or it can be an overarching goal that you want to achieve. And every month it's your same goal that you're working on. And we have some, in our group, we have a woman finishing her dissertation who's like this close to finishing, but she hasn't taken, she has all these other responsibilities in life, and she has a great position now as a CEO. So all these new responsibilities. She got married. She has all of these new events happening in her life, and her dissertation is waiting for her to finish it. So, that's her goal. And then we have someone else who's writing a book, and they just need like two more chapters to finish. So it's like these little things that are small but major.
Mm-hmm.
Other women who want to, take control of their health and have a healthier lifestyle. So everyone has their own goals and their dreams. And we come together and support each other weekly in our community calls, and daily with our buddy systems, where we actually talk to each other on a daily basis. We're paired up with our buddy, and we really support each other to make those goals happen. And it's just like, sometimes it's baby steps. Sometimes some weeks you're in a better place than others. Some days you are as well, but just keep moving it forward a little bit at a time. And before you know it, you've climbed your mountain, your Mount Kilimanjaro. You made it to the top, step by step.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Step by step, baby steps, or step by step.
Yeah.
That's how you can climb the mountain. You don't jump on to the top. It's
No.
one step at a
And
time.
one step at a time. And sometimes you take 3 steps forward, and you have to take a few steps back to get acclimatized, with the altitude too, when you're going up the mountain. And so
Yes.
we're not judging it, right? We're not saying, oh, you bad girl, you were going backwards instead of forward. No, you need to sometimes take some steps back, and then you continue on. But the
Yeah.
important thing is to to support each other, because there is that strength in a group, of a committed group of women who have their own goals and their own vision, but
Mhm.
we're like-minded in the sense that we see the
Yes.
value in it, and we see that together we can do it, versus
Mhm.
alone it's not the same energy. It's not as
Yeah,
dynamic. It's not as exciting.
it's true. It's not the same. Together is always better. I feel the same.
Yeah.
So just to conclude, a couple of, if you want, like a couple of words or a quote or anything that you want to just share as last words for women, for empowering women, or anything that comes to mind. And especially and I'm going to take the flowers again because it's International Women's Day. So that's absolutely perfect. And you have yellow. You didn't know that it's the color of the flower we offer in Italy for women.
Hmm. The mimosa.
The
Yes, I
mimosa.
love it. Beautiful. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity, Mel. And I didn't really come prepared with a quote, but I guess, going back to what we started talking about, which is, to live your dream life. Something that actually came to me while you were showing me the flower was, and this is a quote from Mother Teresa, is
Ah,
blossom where you're planted, wherever you
ah,
are, blossom, and honor yourself, and do that for yourself, give yourself
perfect.
what you need so that you can be that beautiful blossom that you are. And yeah, and with the queendom, there are so many women that really are not competitive, and once they can, have that trust, once they know that your intention is genuine, that you're there to support and help them,
Yes.
they are there to support and help you too. And I think that, taking down those barriers between women, I think is really important for us. And just honoring and respecting and supporting each other along our journeys it's just a beautiful, wonderful, fulfilling
Yeah.
experience. And yes, I'm really happy to be able to do this. And I love you so much, and I'm so grateful to have
Thank
you in my
you.
life and for you to be part of my circle of women and influence.
Same here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything you shared. And I love finally you didn't have a quote, but you actually had a beautiful quote from Mother Teresa, and it's perfect. And it just gave me again with this idea of flowers and blossoming. It's like all of us women were flower, we're all blossom. Just imagine in springtime, this beautiful all these beautiful trees blossoming. No, none of the tree or none of the flower is taken away from the other flower. We're just all beautiful together, blossoming together. So
Beautiful. Yes, and enhancing each other. And then
yes.
I just can see the trees. I can imagine it's such a beautiful, vibrant yellow too. It's so
Oh
pretty.
yes. I'll
I'm
take
going to look it
pictures.
up now too, the mimosa. Yeah, take some pictures. And then one thing I did want to say though is if anybody has any questions or they want information or they want to even join, the 30-day challenge, they can go to my email, which is info@alenaalberani.com. And I don't know if there's a way for you to post it in
Hmm.
written out, but
Yes,
I can get you that
I
for
will
you.
read that, write that for sure. So if anyone wants to join Alina's challenge, um, we'll put your email so they can join the challenge together with us. And then there's always all the information about Harmoniously. If anyone interested, also like more in doing coaching with Harmoniously, or even like we do ketamine at home therapy that can enhance all the work with the coach. It can support the the 30-day challenge. It can support anything. We're all for integrative well-being. So
Mm,
because the path are many, all roads lead to Rome, and we're walking together in this path. So again, thank you so much.
thank
Thank
you
you
very much.
everyone for listening.
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.